All right, so starting on your back and allow yourself to really settle in. Now, whatever that means for you. So that could be the big pendiculation where you invoke a yawn and just allow yourself to feel into your space. Become intimate with the space that you're working in this morning or this evening. It might feel nice to stretch everything long. Take that yawn and just explore what it feels like in your body right now, this moment. One of the things we'll play with today a little bit on the floor is that we almost always practice with a sticky mat, which has a boundary around it. So can you extend yourself out beyond your boundary, maybe taking your body into a big X, pressing through one side of the X, foot and hand reaching, leg stretching, arm stretching, and then the other side. And just taking up as much space as you have available to you wherever you're practicing. And then we'll all take the soles of our feet to the floor. Again, if you're someone who's used to kind of putting yourself into smaller spaces, get bigger here. So feet as wide as the edge of your mat, and just a nice movement back and forth, side to side with the knees. This is just the scanning part of practice. How does my low back feel? How does my pelvis feel? What's my spine feel like right now? So take a little time to notice. And then you can bring your feet back to hip distance apart or leave them wide, and we'll do a few rolling bridge shapes. So as you inhale, draw your pubic bone away from your navel, press into your feet, lift your hips, and sweep your arms behind you. Right? And then you can keep everything where it is and just roll down your spine, one vertebra at a time, and sweep your arms back in place. All right, take a few rolling bridges on your own. And now, just for fun, because I think one thing that inhibits us feeling like part of the whole and feeling separated are our habits, our habits in everything. So as you press up and continue to press up into this rolling bridge, what might it feel like to squeeze the buttocks a little tighter? What might it feel like to lift the toes and engage the hamstrings? What might it feel like as you lift to draw your knees away towards the short end of your mat? Just play around with this idea of changing something just enough to get outside of yourself, your regular habit of doing things. Yoga is just like anything else. We have our habits that we do, ways that we like to do things. And then the next time you come down to the floor, if you have not taken your feet wide, go ahead and do that. Take at least the edge of your mat. All right, and just continue. Now it's going to feel a little different because our body's in a little different shape. So exploring with the feet wide. Try not to let your knees sink in towards the midline, but keep everything wide and strong. Great. And then the next time you come down to the floor, bring your feet back to hip distance apart and bring your arms alongside your body. On your inhale, lift your legs up towards the ceiling and sweep your arms up towards the ceiling. So like a dead bug sort of thing. So pressing the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, reaching fingertips towards the ceiling. And then on your exhale, let your arms sweep down to the side and just let your feet come back to the floor. Inhale, lift everything up. And exhale, bend your knees, set your feet down on the floor, sweep your arms down to your sides. Okay, just excite the core a little bit here. You can go at any speed that feels good, but I would invite you to explore doing something different than you normally do. If you're a fast mover, maybe slow it down. If you're a slower mover, maybe speed it up. Keep your chin tucked in slightly so the back of your neck stays long. And you should start to feel some sensation in your core. Don't run away from that sensation. You can keep moving through this. The next time you lift the legs up towards the ceiling, leave them there, and then point your fingers towards the short end of your mat and just lift and reach. So try to reach past your legs and then exhale to come back down. Inhale, reach past your legs if you can, just get your fingertips past your legs, and then exhale, slowly roll back down. Again, if you're sort of a fast mover, what might it feel like to slow this down? What might it feel like to speed it up? Great. And then we'll take soles of the feet back to the floor. Now stretch everything long and relax the hip flexors. So press into the imaginary wall in front of your feet, toes pointed up towards the ceiling. So really press into that wall. Imagine that you've got a wall there, or you're standing up, you're in Tadasana and you're pressing into the floor. And then press into the back of your head and just draw your shoulder blades underneath your body. Tuck your chin in. Take a few rounds of breath right here. Right here. Good. And then roll onto your tummy. Just roll right over onto your stomach and feel your breath against the floor. Great. And make the little pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead on that pillow. Now bring your feet outside the edges of your mat so your legs are wide. And draw your pubic bone down into the floor. Bring your tailbone, lengthen your tailbone down towards the short end of your mat. And inhale, press into your forearms and lift. Keep pressing pubic bone into the floor. Lift your navel away from the floor and lengthen your tailbone down between your feet. And exhale, slowly take yourself back down. Okay, press and lift. So we've got 10 to 12 of these, and I want you to play around again with what might it feel like if I really squeeze my buttocks a little bit more. Okay, what might it feel like if I draw my shoulder blades down my back? If I lift my navel completely away from the floor. So play around with those different feelings as you inhale and exhale. Great. Then the next time you are lifted, bring the feet a little closer together, squeeze your buttocks, lift your hands off the floor, bend your elbows, bring your hands to your low ribs, and press yourself up through table, and gently bring your hips back towards child's pose. Great. And then just rock back and forth. So come forward, head or shoulders kind of above or in front of the wrists, and then back. So just going back and forth here, back and forth. And then finding table, take a few rounds of cat-cow. Here you might explore really pressing into your hands on the cat as you round your back. Really press the floor away with your hands. Tuck your chin. Inhale, lift your heart on the cow. Okay, so most of us are on the sticky mat at this point, and we're inside that boundary. So let's extend the right leg out behind and sweep the right leg out outside the boundary. So imagine you're reaching into the world, right? You're coming into the whole body, even though you're solid in yourself here on the mat. So reaching the right foot, sliding the right foot out as you tuck your hips back towards your heels, and holding here for 3, 2, 1. Press yourself back up and sweep your right leg back behind you. Holding here, reach the left hand out in front. And then you can begin a little vinyasa, bringing elbow to knee on the exhale. Inhale, everything extends long. Or try that other vinyasa we've been doing. Bring the knee into the chest and sweep the left arm behind. Inhale. Or maybe you can go back and forth with those 2 movements. Exhale, bring the knee in, sweep the arm behind. A little different balance. A little different way of showing up. Next time you extend long, take your left hand back to the floor, and now reach your right arm off the floor. So right leg, right arm. You have to do a little different kind of balance here. Notice what has to engage. And then right hand back to the floor, right knee back to the floor. 2 rounds of the cat-cow. Good. Turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Take your feet outside your mat. So you're not using your sticky mat, but you've got your feet outside the mat. Press your hands really firmly into the floor and lengthen your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Good. From here, jump the feet back together and come down to your knees into cow. Exhale, drop your forearms to the floor, reach your hips back towards your heels, child's pose. Inhale, come back up to cow. And then exhale, steady, just table. Just find table, firm table. And then let's take the left leg long. Okay, sweep the left leg out to the left. Take the sole of your foot to the floor and slide your foot as far away from you as possible, bringing your hips back towards your heels. So firmly in your boundary, but reaching out into the outer space. Inhale to come back up and reach the left leg long, reach the right arm long. So spinal balance. On your exhale, you bring your knee and your elbow together. Inhale, sweep long again, and then play around with this one. Bring your knee into your chest, but sweep your right arm behind you. It's a different kind of balance. And you can play with alternating. We're doing one or the other. And the next time you reach long, right hand comes back to the floor. Can you take the left arm long? You have to teeter over to the right a little bit. Okay, but this is where, you know, we need to practice getting unstuck in all of our habitual ways. Once you fall out, let's just go back to the floor and a couple rounds of the cat-cow. And then turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. On this downward dog, walk your feet up towards your hands, pretty close, you know, maybe a foot and a half between the hands and the feet, and press your heels up off the floor. Drop your head, chin into chest, press into your hands. Press into your hands. So it's kind of like a downward dog, forward fold almost. See if you can bring your heels down to the floor. At least intention them down to the floor. And then walk your feet back. Take a sort of a more traditional downward dog, hips, the feet a little bit wider than hips. And then walk your feet back even further and rock yourself forward and find high dandasana. Then knees, then back to child's pose. Bring your hands to the back of your body, right at your low back. Interlace your hands or grab opposite wrist with opposite hand. And draw your arms off your back slightly, as much as possible. And then release your arms all the way down to the floor. Let everything soften here in this child's pose. Take a few rounds of breath right here. Good, then we're gonna inhale. On the next inhale, stand up on our knees, reach arms overhead. Take your time, you might be a little bit dizzy. Interlace your thumbs and reach fingertips towards the ceiling. Try to think about lifting your low ribs off of your hips. So you're getting a lot of nice extension through the side waist. Good. And then release your arms down to your sides. And we're going to come into a lunge with the right foot forward. So starting in proposal pose, since we were talking about weddings, bring yourself down into the lunge, come down into the lunge. Good. And then press back up to proposal pose. Inhale the left arm up and reach back for the left hamstring. Inhale, sweep left arm back up, take it right back to your thigh, turn your toes under on the left foot and press up. So you're in a high lunge. Good. Okay. And then step forward, just touch your left foot to the floor and then step back to the lunge. Step forward, touch your left foot. Just don't put any weight in the left foot, just touch it and then come back to the lunge. And here we go. Let's do 8. I think I've lost count, sorry. The next time you step back into the lunge, hold there, drop the knee, inhale, reach the arms up, Exhale, take a side bend over to the left, outside your boundary. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, bring your hands down around your front foot or to some blocks. Straighten the front leg and come into a little hamstring stretch here, bowing your head into your body. Then coming forward, release that leg and come back to table. Cat-cow. Press hard and reach your back up towards the ceiling in the cat. And then turn toes under, inhale, and press back, downward facing dog. Bring your feet outside your mat, way outside your mat. Big, big stance, big wide stance. And tilt your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Roll your triceps down towards the floor. Press hard into the floor. Inhale, bend your knees, and exhale. Jump your feet back together into a more traditional downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, elbows first, bring the hips back towards the heels, child's pose. Inhale, stand up on your knees, sweep your arms up. Ooh, good. Interlace the thumbs, reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then release your arms down to your sides and bring your left foot forward. So you're in the proposal pose. Take hands to the front of the thigh, come deep into the lunge. Inhale, sweep yourself back up. Inhale the right arm up. Take a little side bend. Really stretching and opening the side waist. Release. You can keep your hands on your thigh or take them down to some blocks, turn the back toes under and press up into lunge. So the back leg comes up, extended, lengthened, hamstring reaching for the ceiling. So now we're in the lunge again. We'll do that same thing. So we'll step forward and just touch the right foot to the floor and then step back into the lunge. And then step forward, touch the right foot to the floor, step back into the lunge. Okay, let's do 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come to Tadasana, to standing. Press your feet into the floor. Press your feet into the floor. Turn your palms out. Lift your crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And exhale, fold through center. Hands to the floor, step or jump back to downward facing dog. Press the floor away. Press the floor away. Lift kneecaps up, 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 up. Engaging your legs. Then walk your feet up towards your hands. As wide as the edge of your mat. Come into a squat with the arms forward. Inhale here. Exhale, fold. Lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale, bend through the knees, reach forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come into the squat. And now from the squat, step your right foot back into a lunge. Come back to the squat. Step your left foot back into the lunge. Now hands can be anywhere. You could have them at your waist. You could have them out in front of you or up over your head. You choose as you move back and forth from a squat to a lunge and back to the squat.
play around with changing the habit that you've already made. Ooh, a little bit harder with the arms straight up. And last one, your release is a forward fold. Tuck your chin in, any amount of bend in the knees is fine. And then hands to hips, bending through your knees, hinging up, pressing into the floor, using the strength of your legs, come back up to standing. Come back up to Tadasana. Great. Okay, now take the long edge of your mat and take a really wide stance, maybe wider than you would normally. Not wider than you would normally take. Okay, and then with your feet relatively parallel to one another, energetically draw your thighs together. Feel like you're squeezing your thighs together. Okay, and then do the opposite, like try to press your feet out. And if you put your hands on your thighs, you can feel the different action in your legs. Squeeze imaginary big round ball between your legs and then press out. And you can feel that. So this is me in, and this is me in the world out. Just feeling that difference, right? We have to engage differently. Good. Now from here, turn the right foot out and bend your right knee and come in to a strong warrior two with your legs. Press the right foot forward energetically or isometrically and feel how that loads the back leg. Okay. Reach the arms out and then turn the palms up. That's a different pose. That's more of a receiving from outside of myself, and then turn the palms down. Good. So now from here, we'll inhale, straighten the leg, bring arms up overhead and pass through heart center. We've done this many times, but see if you can get the sense of like when I drop down into the warrior two, I'm reaching out into the world. And then I'm going to inhale and pull everything back in and float through center. We'll do that a few times. It's just a little vinyasa, but sort of see if you can think about engaging in the whole body. And I'm kind of bringing it back into myself as we come through the center. Yeah. And really play with first pushing that front foot isometrically forward and see how that loads the back leg. We want everything to be equally working. Good. And next time you come to warrior two with the front knee bent, stay. Straighten the front leg. Straighten the front leg. We tilt right here into Trikonasana. And there's a couple different things you could do. Left hand behind your head, scoop your belly, scoop your chest, open it up into the world. This is super vulnerable, super open to the world. But at the same time, imagine you're squeezing your legs towards one another. Good. If you want to go into a little bit more core work, bring your hands out in front like you're squeezing a beach ball. You're squeezing a beach ball between your hands. Oh, keep the legs strong. 3, 2, 1. Sweep back into warrior two. Inhale, press up, straight legs, turn both feet, arms above you. And exhale, float through center. Come down all the way to the floor and walk your hands out. Big open leg downward dog. Draw your kneecaps up. You're in your boundary, but you're out of your boundary. Your separate boundary. Then walk the feet, the hands back towards the feet. Good. And bend through your knees slightly, hands to hips to come up back to this big wide stance. Let's try the other side. So turn the left foot out. And as you drop down into warrior two, really try to scoot that front foot forward and feel how that pressures the back leg. And we turn the palms up. We turn the palms down. Maybe you can sit deeper into your warrior two, right? See if you can challenge some of your old habits. And then on the inhale, woo, straighten the front leg, hands come above the head. Let everything float through center. You're pulling into yourself here. And now I'm expanding out outside my boundary. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. The exhale makes me feel solid, right? Right, as I come down, inhale, reach up, take your own rhythm here, your own speed. Do a few rounds with this vinyasa. We'll meet in the warrior two. Pushing the left foot forward, feel how it loads the back leg. Good, then as you straighten the front leg, you just lift that front arm. Hips come back, right? As you tilt down into the Trikonasana. Start with your hand on your hip, but see if you can open your heart here. Really open the heart. If you're resting your head in your hand or holding the big beach ball out in front of you, keep that front leg strong. Keep it strong. For 3, 2, 1, and inhale back, warrior two. Exhale, just really sit into it. Inhale, sweep arms up, turn both feet to be parallel. Exhale, float through center, come all the way to the floor, hands to the floor, and walk your hands out, way out. So you're in downward dog with your upper body, and you're in a big wide stance with your legs. If you want to, you can take your head right down to the floor or to a block or 2 blocks and have a little inversion. Keep the legs strong here. Keep the legs strong. And then we'll press, if you're in an inversion, press back up, walk hands to the center right underneath your body. Let's take our left hand underneath the sternum and sweep the hips over to the right. Just to start the vinyasa, sweep the hips over. So you're drawing the inside of your left leg towards the inside of your right leg. And then gradually bring your hand either to your hip or into a full extension, right arm above left arm. The left inner thigh is pulling over to the right thigh. Yeah. And you can keep your gaze down at your hand or up towards your shoulder, your right shoulder, and then release that right hand underneath and just start the vinyasa with pulling and turning the hips, pulling the inner right thigh towards the left leg. And then maybe you come hand to hip, and maybe you come all the way up with the left arm extended. I've got a little shoulder injury, so I'm just going to go hand to hip and look down at your hand or over to the left towards the left shoulder. 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. Now walk your hands up towards your right foot as you turn your right foot and come back into this lunge with the back leg lifted. Back leg is lifted. Inhale the arms up. And as you exhale, step forward into a squat. Inhale the arms up. Draw your left hip back to step back into the lunge. Straighten the front leg and bow, humble warrior. Inhale as you bend through the front leg, Step up, come into the squat, or it's like a chair pose, I guess. Okay, inhale here, reach fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale, stand up, float the arms down, Tadasana. Okay, we'll try a little bit on the other side. So as you inhale, sweep your arms forward or up, and then drive the right hip back as you step back into the high lunge. Inhale, come forward into the squat. Exhale, step back, high lunge. If you find yourself out of balance, that's okay. That's part of the practice, right? Let's bring it forward one more time. And then back. And then straighten that front leg and bow into humble warrior. And then inhale as you bend through the front leg, arms come up, step forward, press up. Ooh, let the arms float down. Ah, very good. Hands to heart center and just come, really just come into yourself. Hands at heart center, a Tadasana with the prayer hands. Draw everything into you, everything into you. So just energetically pull everything towards midline, close your eyes, tuck your chin a little bit. Okay, now we're going to come into a couple of more balanced postures. Okay, so let's begin with weight in the right foot. Now you can have a block alongside your right foot to the outside of your right foot for this. We're going to come into eagle. So the left leg comes over the right. I let my hips go with it. You could rest your left foot on the block, or you could just squeeze and hold. Okay, so here we are, legs are wrapped up. Then left arm just underneath right arm. I mean, if this isn't like, oh, I'm loving myself here, I'm totally into myself. Here we go, just like this. Squeezing, if you fall out, just start over. Again, you could rest your toe on the ground. It's a little easier to have a block for that left foot. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Now we're going to transition to a more open out and coming outside my own boundaries with tree. So we'll unleash the arms, bring the left leg out, take it to your right calf or the inside of your right leg, and come into tree. I'm thinking about expressing out. Coming out into outside of my own personal space boundary. I still have to engage core, legs are squeezing together. Good. Release that, shake it out, bounce it out, walk around your space, bounce the heels, shake it out, do some ninja jumps. Okay, and then find Tadasana first. Find Tadasana first. Gather yourself, gather your own strength, your own goodness. And then we put the weight into the left foot, bend the knees, right leg comes across, resting on the floor or a block or in midair, right arm underneath left. Find your inner gaze or your outer gaze. If you fall out, just start over. Then unwind the arms, unwind the leg, just find your balance point, and then right foot to left calf or left inner thigh. Balance is different every day, so don't sweat it, but open up. Good job, everybody. Good job. Release. Bounce the heels. Maybe bounce everything. Shake everything. Get a little fascial system work here. Shake, 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 shake. Woo. And then top of your mat. Tadasana. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, just turn your palms out and let your hands float down. Okay, inhale, we sweep the arms out in front of us, like we're lifting up something up towards the heavens, and then turn palms out, let everything float down. Just a few rounds here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Think about how this could be a more internal or U shape and movement, and how it could be a more external out towards the rest of the body, the rest of the world kind of shape and movement. The next time we sweep the arms up, we'll stay. And here, interlace your thumbs once again. You can widen your stance slightly, and let's side bend in one direction. Come back up to center, side bend in the other direction. Take two more on each side, and take your time and think about, we're opening the side, the ribs, the intercostals, so that we can breathe better, so that we have more ease in our breath, more ease in our, just communicating with other people. Right, breath and being able to calm ourselves, being able to excite ourselves when we need to, right? Just a supporting breath here. And then we come back to center. Good, last time, come back to center and then fold through center, hands to the floor, step or jump back, downward facing dog. Okay, next inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. And lengthen through the spine, even as you come into this back bend. Think about lengthening through your spine, drawing your tailbone away from the cervical spine. And then exhale, forearms back to child's pose. Inhale, cow. And then stay in the table. Okay, take your knees as wide as your mat again. Maybe even get off your mat. But let's take the right arm up, reach up towards the ceiling, and then bring your fingertips to your shoulder. Right fingertips to shoulder. Then we sweep the elbow underneath. Okay, sweep the elbow underneath the left arm. Then inhale, fingertips on shoulder. You should feel this really nice stretch in twist in the middle of your back, the thoracic spine. So take a couple of rounds here with the fingertips on the shoulder, drawing the elbow underneath. So again, we've talked about this a lot in class. So if you're someone who likes to really do the vinyasa, you might now go ahead and hold for a little bit longer. If you're someone who likes to hold, you might continue the vinyasa a little bit, come into the hold at the end. You'll be on your right shoulder, on your right temple, left hand can rest on your sacrum or reach around for the inner right thigh. Choose your shape here. Or the left hand could be simply stretched out in front if you want to get a little more opening in the side waist. And then wherever you are, bring your left hand beside your head, press yourself up, find table again,
and take a few rounds of cat-cow. How might that be? How might you make this a little different? Really pressing your hands into the floor on the cat and really like thinking about lengthening the spine on the cow. So it's not just a back bend, but it's a back bend with lots of length in the spine. And coming to neutral, we'll inhale the left arm up, bring the fingertips to the shoulder. And then as you come underneath with the elbow, really feel this twist in your thoracic spine. So inhale, elbow up. Fingertips are on the shoulders, on the shoulder, and then elbow underneath. For some reason, this is a little different. This feels a little different to me than when I have my arm extended. Sweep the elbow up and draw the elbow underneath the right arm. And again, if you love to vinyasa and keep it moving because you have that sort of energy, go ahead and come into the hold right now. And if you're someone who would rather just hold, keep going, do the vinyasa a little bit more. We'll all come together in the hold. So left shoulder on the floor, left temple on the floor, right arm extended out in front or on the sacrum or reaching around for the left inner thigh. And no surprise, each side is different. We're now on our left side on the floor. And so that means if you're right-handed, it might be a little bit harder to get around to your left inner thigh because the fact that we use our right arm, right hand, we tend to have the shoulder inflection more. So this is really good for opening the front of the right shoulder here. But anywhere you are is fine. Anywhere you are is fine. And then right hand beside your head, press yourself up, find yourself back in table, and take a few rounds of cat-cow. And maybe add some forward and backward movement. Maybe add some circular movement. Hip pop. Maybe see if you can have some follow through all the way up into your head, your neck, right? As you move through some cat-cow. Then from here, come back to the table. We'll walk both knees over to the right and set our hips over to the left. Keep your left leg in an L shape forward and bring your right leg behind you. So the right leg is in a Virasana shape, and the left leg is in Sukhasana or Baddha Konasana shape. So I'll change my camera angle a little bit here. So you have left leg, right leg. Right leg, if this works for your knees, right leg is bent back in the kind of a Virasana shape, and the left leg is in kind of a square shape. And then just come forward. You'll feel this in your outer left hip. And just see if you can release any tension around any story you have about your tightness in your hips or anything like that. Maybe just relaxing the arms a little bit too. Facial expression is really important for how, our facial expression shows up in the rest of our body, if that makes any sense. So see if you can smile and release some tension in your face. Some of you might be able to go all the way down to the floor with this. And press up, and we just switch the orientation. right? So right leg is at more of a Baddha Konasana shape and left leg in a Virasana shape if it doesn't bother your knees. You could always have this other leg extended if that hurts your knees to come back in Virasana. And then coming down or forward, but feeling the sensation in the right hip, right outer hip. And again, soften your face. Maybe the forearms down to the floor. Tucking in. So even the movement and the position of our head and where we're looking. So we do play with this a lot in practice. You know, I look inward because that's important. It's important for me to be contemplative and looking inward. And then I look out. Maybe you even look around your room right now and see if there's something you haven't noticed for a while in your immediate outer space. And we can take that out into the rest of the world today. Good. Walk the hands back. Set both feet out in front of you. Bring your knees together. Bring your hands to the back of your thighs. Slowly take yourself to the floor. And now this is for you, the next couple minutes, for you to play and listen to your own body. So I'm part of the big body. I'm external. I'm guiding. Now you get to do whatever feels like it's calling you for about 2 minutes. Take whatever shapes and movements you need to come back to settling into the boundary of your yoga mat. There's no right and wrong here. There's just what feels appropriate for you at this time. And the only suggestion I would make is to begin to just slow your movements down as you head towards a very supportive Shavasana. And by that, I mean gather blanket, socks, jacket, whatever you need to be comfortable in our final pose, our final resting pose. Very internal, very much about you when you come into Shavasana. So there is no effort required here when you drop into the Shavasana shape, no effort required. So begin to scan your body. And if you find that you're efforting in your legs, in your arms, in your belly, see if you can let that go. You can soften the hands.
Soften the lines on your face, around your eyes, between your brow, around your mouth. And inhale into a soft belly. Each time you become aware of holding or efforting, see if you can let that go one more time. So follow your thread today, tomorrow, the rest of this week. Honor that which is true to you and know that you're connected to all other things. Namaste.